Jen, you've designed a human CV to be more than just a resume. So I'm curious, what makes it different than other ways of people presenting a CV, and why is it essential, especially in today's world where the job market is rapidly changing?
I'm really happy that you asked that because the traditional CV, as I see it, is not going to be replaced super soon. Like it's not going to change, and from next week on, we don't need CVs anymore. So I've worked in recruitment for a long time, and we do need to know job titles or how long somebody has been with a company. But with the human CV, it's designed to be a complement for the existing way of showcasing your skills, your history, your background. You know, the thing that I noticed is when people come to me and they say, hey, I grew up in Spain and I worked for this company and I went to this university and it's the best one in Spain, for example. Well, if you are an employer from New Zealand, you would not know about this company or about this university. So all of these bragging points would completely get lost when people have only their identity and their self-worth defined by the title, the company, and maybe even how long they've stayed there. So with the human CV, I wanted to have something that's really universal, that is future-proof. So all the skills, the personality traits that you have, that you take with you wherever you go, those are being highlighted in the human CV. And the biggest factor that nobody really looks at when a CV is presented, where do you want to go? The CV tells you where you've been, but it doesn't tell me where you want to go. So as an employer, I want to see, where is your drive? What are you passionate about? What are you fighting for? Where would you go and say, this is what I want to build? And so I made a point to have the sustainable development goals as a uniting factor. And so that means I can choose from all these people providing the human CV input. I can choose, today we want to have a meetup in person or online, and it's going to be about the Sustainable Development Goal number 8, fair work and good pay. And then all these people in the companies who want employees and the people who want to work for companies that are into equal pay and fair work opportunities, they get to meet. And that's a very unique position and nobody has done it before.
So let's say I'm new to the job market, or I'm building a brand that needs a story told, and I'm looking for an employee, a contractor that really fits what I'm looking for. How does the human CV help the employer and the employee find each other in a better way?
All right, that's a really cool question, because the exact things that make most teams or even companies realize that they've hired the wrong person is when they only went by what has this person done before, what's their title, what's their history. Now, you can hire somebody from the best universities in the world, from the best companies, and they are a beep and they don't fit in your team. And companies unfortunately realize that, and it's so expensive. You hire that person, costs you money to train them, costs you money to have any personal grievances resolved if that person doesn't fit with your team, and creates any kind of pain, frustration, damage to your goods and services, damage to your reputation. Now, so many of those things can be avoided, prevented, or mitigated if you know in advance the personality of that person and how they will fit into the team. And let's say you have a project coming up that requires a lot of detail focus. There is potentially not a smart way if you get a super creative and, out there person. You want to make sure that the personality fits your existing team or the project or service you want to have them work on. So that's why the human CV can really focus on those soft skills. You can't teach them. They come with a person. Even when you were a tiny child, your parents could already see a natural tendency for you to do things in your own way. And that's what I'm so happy to see the human CV highlighting those things in people as a complement to their existing work history.
I can see how, because it highlights soft skills and personality, that's helpful for not just the applying employee, but also the employer to know themselves better. Mm-hmm. Would I be right to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it always goes both ways. An employer-employee relationship is just like any relationship, a personal or a professional relationship. It's always how do existing strengths and skills and preferences complement each other to build a thing. Doesn't matter if you build a marriage, if you build a house, if you build a car. It's always about putting the right people together and say, communicate well. And to communicate well, you need to understand how people communicate and how they show up. And we have so many amazing tests and assessments available that are scientifically validated. They have been proven time and time again. And I've combined and curated the best of after doing this for over a decade, researching with people all over the world, finding the ones that are free, easy to do, and most of them are available in multiple languages as well.
Yeah, I remember hearing that you're making the human CV as a tool for not just leadership and career growth, but also for interpersonal relationships and maybe even finding a partner. So, how would you define success in these different arenas, not just as the founder, but also for people who sign up and partake in this really new social experiment?
It's a really nice point to think about because I only have 2 tattoos on my body, and the one that is most significant to me comes from the ancient Greek words of notheisauten, which means know thyself. And it's always been my core mission, my purpose to show people who they are, what they want, and how they can get it. And the human CV is only a tool. It's like the best of knowing thyself tools. And so I've seen huge successes when and boosts of energy in people when they understand this is who I am, these are my strengths, this is how I show up. And so for me, success is always measured by how much internal energy can be released from within a person. We all have unlimited amounts of energy within us, and some of us have never even gotten to half of that and explored how full they can show up, how fully they can be expressing themselves and creating things. And I've seen massive success happening when people only start on that journey of knowing themselves, getting to know their strengths and skills. And hey, I'm just the messenger. I'm just taking tools that are already there, making it simple and easy for people to answer a few questions. It takes less than the length of an average Netflix movie, and get to know yourself, and then your energy gets released. So that's how I would define success.
If there was just one reason you would share as to why everyone would spend their time to create this free human CV profile, what would you say to them?
I thought I had a light answer for that, but the initial thing that actually comes back to me is a moment a couple of years ago when I spent living on the streets, doing van life, and I traveled around, and my mission was to really help everybody I could find. I wanted to get really good at coaching, and I wanted to test my tools on the streets with everybody who couldn't run away pretty much. And unfortunately, what I came across, which most people don't know about New Zealand, is we have one of the highest suicide rates in the world. And the highest group of people who take their lives is teenagers, especially young men. And when I spent time with them, when I was undercover out there and in various marais, which are prayer homes or community centers, or even on a Friday night at the beach, finding out what is really going on. Why do your mates kill themselves? They shared with me the real truth, and it all comes back to know thyself. If you don't know your purpose, if you don't know where you're going, then life isn't worth living. And if I can only do a tiny, tiny piece of this puzzle of helping people to find their purpose, of not taking their lives that is so special and so precious and so unique, then that would be the only one thing that I want out of this.
Kia ora. Thank you. That's beautiful. That's my first time hearing it.
Every minute counts.